Hey, how you doing, man?
Let's talk about that because you're an Indian boy who absolutely loves kind of rock, kind of influences pop. Where does that love come from?
Well, music knows no color, but having grown up in an environment in a home where there was rock and roll, pop, the Beatles, Zeppelin, all that kind of stuff, all that stuff rubbed off on me, and here I am.
Why the word Maverick as an album title? Because it all of those definitions we've given, and yet the interesting thing about the music is that it really does subscribe to all the popular rock sounds, but it's fresh.
I think I tried to steer away from long, overly thought out album titles. I looked for a word or something that's going to sum up all the tunes and me, and Maverick was that.
What is this musical journey that you're on?
Well, it's album 2 now, and obviously a new sound, a new direction, and stuff that I'm trying to reach out to obviously a broader audience. The songs are more accessible to people, and I'm sort of dabbling more in the mainstream pop arena. Yeah.
What has changed from the first album to the second album?
I think, the songs definitely. I think the songwriting is stronger. The lyric is a lot more in depth, and I've paid a lot of attention to that. Sort of trying to say stuff that people can relate to a lot more.
And with that being said, so what are you singing about on this album?
It's various stuff. I talk about my perception of the world, my perception of relationships, about people. It's just general stuff, man.
It's very difficult to ask a creative person what songs they prefer and what are the songs that they absolutely love and what's the songs that they feel will be their hit. But if I had to put you in the hot seat and say, Harshn, come on, what is the one song that you think people are going to respond to on this album, or the two songs, and the song that South Africans should open their arms to? What would it be?
Well, the single, Let It Go, because for me, Let It Go is firstly, it is the first single off the album, and it's a radio song, and it's a sing-along tune. I think the emphasis behind the message in the song is togetherness and letting go of various different stuff, not just in relationships, but yeah.
How are people responding to the sound? Because music is in a very weird space.
Very strange place, yeah.
It's a very strange space at the moment. You've got bands that traditionally look one way doing a different sound, and you kind of fit in that mold. You look one way, and you're doing something that people wouldn't really
expect.
Yeah.
I think as I said, music is in a strange place. We've got to stay current. I always say that to everybody. We've got to keep reinventing ourselves and keep giving the public what they like and want to hear. But the trick is to have some sort of message that people can latch onto, and that's where the songwriting comes from.
Right now, it's it's online. You can.
It's on iTunes. It's on all stores.
How are people responding to it on iTunes?
Well, it actually just hit iTunes last week.
Okay.
So so far, it's still early days. Yeah.
But the actual album will hit stores when?
January.
Okay. What has the reaction been from fans? If we talked a little bit earlier about the departure points being very different for the first and second album. Are you a little bit concerned sometimes that when you go into a 180 direction on the second album, that some fans will go, I actually don't like what Harshn is doing or where he's going, and what emotional space is he at the moment?
That's a good question, because I think fans are going to probably relate to this record better than the first one. With me, it sort of happened in a strange way. My first album was kind of supposed to be my third or fourth album.
Okay.
It's that sort of album in an artist's life where you get into your own head and you do that whole thing. It just happened to come out as my first record. So this one is more a people pleaser.
A lot of times when you speak to musicians, they'll tell you that they've prepared like 20, 30, there's 23 tracks, and then they had to sift through that process, and that for them sometimes is the most painful, because there's songs that they're passionate about, but they can't put it on the album. What was that process for you like? Or did you write 16 songs?
Always the same thing, man. I went through, I think this album, I went through about 30 or 40 songs. I kept going until I had a bunch. I threw a whole bunch away, and then ended up having 16 songs that sort of made a collection, which is, it's a lot of songs to have on an album, but hey, man, Bang for buck for the buyer.
Upcoming performances, people want to hear you, they want to interact with you a little bit more. Any contact details?
Yes, I mean, you can get me on Twitter. It's at Harshn R. Obviously, I'm on Facebook, the official Harshn Reddy. I mean, the new year is going to see a lot of live performances. We've got the video for Let It Go coming out in January. And yeah, of course, you know.
Just watch the space. Okay, Harshn Reddy, he's in our studio. He's got 2 more songs that he's going to perform for us. He's here to talk about the new album called Maverick. It's online. You can download it, iTunes. He's a singer-songwriter, producer as well. And the actual album will be in stores in January. Watch out for the music video as well. We take an ad break. You don't go anywhere.